Welcome to the Classroom Brew podcast. The teacher podcast is a little bit like drunk history. But wait, do you guys actually drink while you record episodes? Yeah. Actually. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I guess to get us started off, cheers.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, absolutely.
So, everybody else, welcome back to Classroom Brew. This is episode 80-something, 84, I believe. And so for this episode, I'm really excited because we actually have Mr.D himself, Joe Dombrowski. So, Joe is actually not only a teacher, but a stand-up comedian, and he's also been on Ellen for his infamous spelling bee test.
Isn't that wild?
Oh my God, I can't even imagine, man.
I know, it's weird too. So I had a meeting the other day with some people who were going to do some business together. And they were like, so, Ellen, that's crazy. And they were talking about it. And as they continued the conversation, I realized that they were under the impression that that happened this past April Fool's, as in like 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And they're like, oh my God, that's so incredible. And I was like, oh, no, like that happened 2 years ago. They're like, wait, but you're on tour now? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, you're like on your own doing this. Like, you're really just like making it happen. I'm like, well, I don't know. Okay, you want to hear some tea, some dish on this? Ellen, in a off-camera moment, looked at me and she's like, hey, you're really funny. And I was like, thank you. She's like, no, like, you're really funny. You should do something with that.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I knew. I was like, I have a lot of material written. And I was like, it's time to, like, hit the ground running. And then I really started to, like, write the show for real. So.
That's insane. Like, I can't even, because you were doing stand-up for, like, 10 years, right? And getting all set. But, like, a lot of people, they thought that was, like, your start, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to kind of connect with her, like, kind of talk? Because she's also, like, this huge influence in a comedian and stuff like that. Do you get a chance, like, behind the scenes to kind of talk about it?
So I picked her brain a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I was like starstruck as hell. Like, it was like, even like getting words out to chat with her was just insane. And I thanked her a lot too for her influence in the LGBT community, because I remember, like, when she came out publicly, I was really young, but it was everywhere. It was in magazines as you're going grocery shopping, like everywhere. And like, as a little gay boy, like, that meant so much to just like see another figure, you know, out there like killing it. So I talked to her mostly about that. However, flash forward a year and a half after my appearance, and she's doing a stand-up special. She filmed her stand-up special in Seattle.
That's right, she did. The most relatable, right?
Yeah,
whatever it's called.
Blocks away from my apartment.
Oh, my God.
Right, so I'm like, oh, let's go get tickets. Had to, like, scour to get tickets. It was insane. Finally got tickets, went to the show, and then I didn't know they did a Q&A after.
Sure.
And I, like, raised my hand, and they came over and gave me the mic, and I was like, hey, not sure if you're gonna remember me. I was on season 14. I'm the teacher. And she's like, oh my God, the spelling test teacher. And I was like, yeah. She's like, she's like, it's so good to see you. She's like, I cannot believe you're here right now. She's like, stop, tell everybody what you did. So I did, and we chatted about it. And she's like, what's up, how are you? And I was like, hey, I just wanted to remind you about what you said about you're really funny, you should do something with that. And I wanted to thank you for it. And I want to let you know that I'm currently in the process of booking my first ever tour. And she's like, that is incredible. And she was just like, she was talking about how, like, she just really believed in that, and like, keep trucking, and, you know, you're gonna fail, and like, feel that failure and use it to motivate you to keep going. And I'm just like, this woman is insanely just like important in my life, and like so many people, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah, you know, I used to watch her when she was on at like 10 a.m. on, I can't remember the network. I think it was still NBC at the time.
Probably, yeah.
And I remember when she got the Dory phone, Now, do you have Ellen on like a bat phone? Because I'm picturing like whenever kids are acting up, you'll be like, you know what? Let me get her on the phone here. Like,
I do. I do not have a direct line to Ellen. I don't.
There's no Dory phone.
There's no Dory phone. But I have 100% used it with the kids. I was like, you know what, you guys? And I like, I'm not like fully lying. Remember that line in the show? Like, I'm not going to lie to them. So I don't lie to the kids. And when they're doing like really great work, I was like, I could let Ellen know about this. And they think I'm probably just gonna like text her, but in reality, I'll like email like 6 producers down, maybe. Right.
If it were me and I was a student, I would be like, okay, I might play this so I can meet Ellen. Maybe she'll come and talk to me.
Right, and I want them to have that mindset, so we're good.
That's incredible, though. Mm-hmm. No, so the show, what's the name of the tour that you have?
Indoor Recess.
So I saw it. We mentioned right before we like officially started rolling. I saw it on Thursday. Incredible.
Thank you.
How many cities have you gone to so far?
So we actually opened, oh my God, we opened a week from today, last Saturday, and this was a 4-show week. Mm-hmm. So we did 2 openers in Detroit, and then came to Chicago, did 2 shows in Chicago, and that's where we're at right now. And it's insane. Dude, it's like, I'm like literally living my dream and doing this. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
That was like very Mikey B of me. Do you follow Mikey B? Like, live your dreams. I'm doing it, Mikey. I'm doing it.
How does that work with like the kids? Like, do you have like a sub plan for like while you're on tour, or is this like spring break still? Or
so this tour, this week in particular was my spring break because I teach full time too. And so I knew it was really important to like hit a lot of shows back to back and go into like major cities as well. Mm-hmm. So that's why I planned this to go over that. And then the rest of the tour, they don't really impede on my classroom time except for one show, which is New York City, Caroline's on Broadway. Are you familiar?
No.
It's like the comedy club of New York City, and I'm shitting my pants. Like, I can't believe that I'm even playing Caroline.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's on Broadway. It's on Broadway. Like, that's
oh my God.
Stupid. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. So when they called, they were like, hey, we got a spot for you. It's on a Thursday. I'm like, done. Take it. Don't care. I'll like take the days. I have to do it. And yeah, we're making it happen.
Nice. How do the kids like? Do the kids know that like of your social media personality and stuff? But do they know about like how big this is that their teacher is starting this midway through, like getting towards the prime of like this stand-up career? Like, do they know that, the extent of that?
Yeah. So last week I had a kid literally come up to me and he was like, can you sign this? And it was a pad of sticky notes. So I was like, okay. So I signed the first one. He's like, no, can you go in and sign every single one?
Oh, is this the video you sent me?
Yeah. And I was like, I did send you the video. And I was like, what is this? And he's like, I'm selling your autograph on Instagram. I was like, are you joking me, dude? And then I sent you that video and I went by. Oh, dude, can we play a snippet?
Let's do it. Yeah, do you have it?
Yeah, I can pull it
so
up.
We can just hold it up to the mic or something like that.
Yeah. Is it weird if I drink too close to the mic? I don't know.
I think those are the sound effects I want. Max and I, we were talking, we need more sound effects. There's like, he's got like a catalog of like 50,000. We're going to add that. We'll do different variations of Joe drinking into the mic.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I'm hoping your camera picks up audio, yeah? Okay, cool. I think I like forgot the first like 30 seconds. You saw me like real quick hit record because I forgot to hit it and then clap, but we should be good.
Oh, that clap life though.
Yeah.
All right, I got this.
This was incredible. So, periodically, like I'll send you like some funny stuff, and Joe will also send me some stuff too. And he sends me this, and he goes, "I think I've officially made it."
Okay, so I'll just hold this up here.
Guys, I have some great news. Mr.D times 3 is actually my teacher, and if you guys follow me, I will give you his autograph. Because he is my teacher, I can get it anytime. So if you guys just follow me, text me. I want Mr. D's autograph. I will get it for you. I can get over 30, I think, maybe. So the first 100 people who subscribe will get it. Or, not subscribe, follow me.
He's an entrepreneur.
Bye. Totally. So
that's amazing.
Okay, I don't know if you remember my first joke in the show too. I say, the only students who are stalking me, the only people who are stalking me now are my
DMs?
students. There's my DMs, and I say, they slide in and they go, "Hey, Mr. D, it's me, Nathan." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, because you spelled your first name wrong." That's Nathan, the real Nathan. So.
The Nathan himself.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a future in something. I'm not sure what, but he's maybe social media influencer or something. But
He's hustling, man.
he knows the game.
So I do got to say this, though. Like, mad shout out to Nathan. He started doing he was really inspired by what I do on Instagram and like comedy and all of that, and I was like, cool, man, cool. So he's like, I started an Instagram account, and it's really funny, and I'm like, cool. So this kid slides my DMs like on the regular, and I never talk to the kids online. If they write in the comments, like I might like give it a heart or whatever. But I obviously saw his page, and it was all he was reposting memes.
Okay.
And I was like, I said to him, I go, hey, like these are funny, but you know what's really funny is original work. Like try to make your own videos and do your own thing. And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. So months go by, and then he pops up on Instagram again. And I was with a couple other teachers, and he's got these videos, and he's like just laying there, and he's like, hey guys, I'm about to do a plank for 30 seconds. And then it's just like doing a plank. And he's like, hey guys, I'm about to play Twinkle Twinkle on the piano. And then he plays it. And I'm like, dude, you're killing it. Like you're doing your own content.
There you go.
So when he did that on the gram too, I was like, it's at my expense, but you make some coin.
He'll say, yeah. This could be the start of something big.
For sure.
And pretty soon you have him on your podcast.
Right.
Which, by the way, your podcast, Study Hall, how's that been going? You're like, what, on season 2 right now?
We're on season 2. You know, you're killing it in the podcast scene. I am not. I love my podcast. I'm really enjoying it, but I want to start beefing it up and like start doing some more with it. And because every time I do it, I'm getting so much joy. So for season 2, we're about to wrap, and then I'm going to super amp it up for season 3. Okay. And I'm going to start doing what we're doing right now, and I'm going to do gigs on the road. So I'm going to do, like, if I can like lock somebody in for an on the road interview, like that'd be cool. Do some live Q&As on the road as well. Like more content, more often. Just because it's like, it's so cool to talk to teachers, not about teaching. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, we're people outside of the classroom, and to like get to know that is so, like, that's why I love like Armchair Expert with Dax.
Oh God, that guy's got everyone on.
Like, I know, but it's cool to hear them talk about like what I already, like, I know you on the screen, but I don't really know you as a person, like how it got there. Right. And then like when he interviews, it's just so, I'm just like, yes, Dax, you're getting it, bro.
And with Dax too, I remember I saw him in like This Is Where I Leave You with Jason Bateman, and he plays like the guy that is like the boss is sleeping with the wife, and like I always see him in like, or Employee of the Month with Dane Cook. He's always like the asshole. And so I found out, this was like 5-6 years ago, before I really knew him, and I was like, he's married to Kristen Bell? No, she's such a nice person. Had no clue that he's actually like this genuine guy, and like I truly love that guy because he's just so vulnerable on that show, no matter what. And like,
super weird fact about them. Dax Shepard grew up in the school district where I got my first job, West Bloomfield, Michigan. Oh, right. And Kristen Bell grew up in the school district. No, she didn't go to the school district. She lived in the community, went to a different school, where the spelling test video went viral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're from Michigan. Like, we're all from the same area. It's wild.
Nice. I'm hoping that I kept like trying to will it where like have Delia on your podcast, Dax. Like, do it. I'm hoping that you'll be like one of the next guests that he has on, because
I would die for that.
That would be amazing.
If you're listening, Dax, like, hit me up, bro.
Do it.
Delia, people often say that we look alike. Do you see it?
It's because maybe the facial hair. It's just the hair. That's the only thing that's a little different. Yeah.
I don't see it at all. Like, my nose is way bigger, and I'm fine with that.
That'd be incredible if, like, could you imagine though if you were actually like on Dax, or like Delia is going to start doing guests apparently on his podcast. Oh, that would be incredible. Because I mean, stand-up comedian, perfect. You have that connection, like where your video was and where you first started teaching and stuff.
Well, that's why when you and I first met, I was really picking your brain on. I'm like, this guy does comedy. I know it.
Oh God, no.
I know, but but honestly, there's two things. Something that people don't know about you is you are an incredible writer and you write well in text message. Like when I'm reading your text, I'm like, this dude's like using grammar and shit. Like it's like for real. So it's good. Props to you.
I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone always gets mad at me because I double enter everything. Like there's one thought, double enter.
Yeah.
And I thought, you got to stop doing that, man.
Oh, I do that too, though. Like I'm breaking up my thoughts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's like separate thoughts. You don't want to inundate them with a million different text messages.
Right.
Like that.
I'm feeling it.
Which reminds me, we talk about, teachers outside of teaching. And one of the things that you've kind of talked about is like, for example, we're drinking right now, and this is pretty frowned upon, right?
It is.
For our profession.
It's morning time.
But also weekend.
And Saturday we're good.
But see, even there, we were like, we have to like make sure people know it's spring break. It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
I was surprised at your show that like a lot of them were teachers. Like they shouted out like, who's teachers? And like a million people shouted out. You had to deal with some hecklers. I was very shocked.
I did have
your
some
show.
hecklers.
I mean, granted, I went to the second show, so it was a little bit later. Maybe they were a little bit deeper into their drinks, but oh my God. Like,
yeah.
Did you expect that from teachers? Do you get it a
lot? I
lot?
always expect it. I mean, like, you can't be a comedian and not expect hecklers.
Sure.
You feel, which is so beyond. Like, in what other art is it fine to interact with them without like the invitation to do so?
Right. Right. I do have one thought though.
Tell me.
Students.
Oh,
well, that's kind of what I thought about it because Katie, I took Katie to the show and she was kind of like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." He handled it so well. She went, "Yes, he handled it so well." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess he probably has to handle that a lot with elementary kids. I know I do with high school kids, but
I feel like that's why I can handle a heckler.
Yeah,
because I do it every day in the classroom. So it's like on the job training.
Yeah. Well, it's like Steve Martin's book where he talks about the parallels between teachers and comedians. And like I was telling you like a month ago or so, like you are the personification of that belief for Steve Martin that he pulls a lot from teachers for his stand-up back when he was doing stand-up. And like literally, like if you were to meet Steve Martin, he'd be like, "Oh, this is my book in one human person." But that's got to be. Do you prefer a student heckler or an adult heckler? Like, how do you handle it?
God, no. The truth is the same way. Like,
okay.
Because the way
You said in the show, like, I've got a quick tongue with parents. Like, sometimes I'm like, I've got the initial reaction than what I should have said. But
yeah, but I feel like you saw the show. You see how I dealt with hecklers, and it's the same. I do the same thing, and people die sometimes when I get a heckler, and I just look at them and I say, "I'll wait." And then like everybody's dying, and that person feels like an asshole, and I'm like, "So try me, bitch." You know what I mean? Like I'm not the one.
Yeah. Oh, that was
I had a heckler in the first show, because you came the second show, and all I said was, "Oh, nope, actually, it's my show. Thank you," and just like went on. And like everybody died, and I was just like,
"Yeah,
not this." Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging hecklers, by the way. So if you're sitting here thinking you're going to come to the show and do that shit, try me. Or don't.
I get that all the time. It was more so with my group of my honors kids last year. I would do the all wait thing. And then after a while, I would just sit there. I wouldn't say anything. And I had this one student, Joe, and he'd go, "He'll wait." Like he would always do that. I'd be like, "God damn it.
Seriously.
Got my number."
See, I can't do I'll wait anymore. My class this year, like A+ in socializing. Like,
there you go.
Oh, they are just so... And truthfully, I really love that energy. Like, I don't like a classroom where, the students wait in the hallway to come in, and then they line up and they come in and they sit down and they do their morning work, and then it's just like super robotic to me. I've worked in that setting before. I don't vibe with that.
Sure.
I love when kids come in and they're social and they're animated and they're talking to each other and they're working on their personal skills.
Yeah.
Now, my current class takes that to like the nth degree, and we're working on it. But if I ever do have done the I'll wait, I will be waiting until the sun sets. They do not stop. It's relentless. But I mean... And that's the thing that people say all the time. They're like, "You're so real on the gram, in your comedy, like everything that you do." And the truth is like, yeah, I am, because I'm done with all this Mary Poppins fake ass shit that you see on the internet. And all these people are like, "It's so charming. It's so wonderful." And it's like, you know what? This is a really rewarding profession. But the truth is it's so goddamn hard.
Yeah.
So like, don't pretend like it's not. And like, it's cool to fail because you're going to do it and it makes you a better teacher. So just like own it, move forward and learn from it, just like you tell your kids to. So when I walk around my classroom and I do that stuff on Instagram, like when I pick my kids up from prep hour and I'm looking at them like, why is it over? Like a lot of people are enjoying that content and laughing at that. And there's a few people who are like, I cannot believe this. It's like, then like go do your own thing, girl. Cause like, this is the truth.
Right. And what's the call that you have when it's recess, when recess is over? Did they repeat it back and then they run over, or
no? They just run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. They call me the mama bird when I do that.
Nice. Do you warn other teachers, or are they just like, oh, that's Joe doing his thing?
Yeah, I think they just expect it at this point.
Because you've got the scare cam too for some of your employees. I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, scare cam. I'll just jump out of nowhere. My teaching partner Sydney, bless her. She was eating a bagel last time I scare cammed her, and she screamed, then threw it, then caught it, then yelled at me. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's almost like that video of the girl that was doing the axe throwing bar.
Oh my God.
She's got quick reflexes.
I just saw that. Okay.
Not doing it anymore. I thought about it.
One of my coworkers, do you ever see the kindergarten teacher, Kelly, on my Instagram? She's doing the mood rings with me.
Yes, I have seen that.
Kelly's amazing. And she the other day texted me and was like, oh my God, we should do this axe chopping thing. And I'm like, hold on. First of all, no. Second of all, crazy drunk people in a room with axes, throwing them at, like, this is a recipe for disaster. And then that video came out, and I was like, see? Like, I'm not to be played right here.
Right.
And I'm not going to do it.
So. I even told Katie, I was like, I want to do this for my birthday. This was like a year ago. I saw that video, and before I could turn my phone, she was turning her phone to say, we're not doing this at all.
Yeah.
They lost their liquor license, everything.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You know?
But those places are everywhere.
Oh, God, everywhere. I don't know why it's such a trend now. I think it's because, like, maybe Game of Thrones or something like that. It's that whole, could be that, but...
I just saw that people wanted to, like, serve, like, lumberjack realness. Like, they're like, yes, I jump trains, yes. I don't know.
They go and wearing a flannel. They never worn a flannel.
I would have worn flannel if I did it. Yeah, like 100%. Pop a few chest hairs out.
There you go. So I guess your thing, too. So I listened to the Q&A that you did at your alma mater, and your goal is to kind of show, like, the day-to-day, right? How do you think that's going, like... It's all about the setup, right? That's what you're showing. Like, social media, sometimes it shows you, like, the punchline, but not always the setup. How do you think that really, like, is there stuff that you think about posting? You're like, I'm not sure. I have to kind of think about that public image. Or is it more times so, like, I want to show the setup. I want to show the day-to-day, the stuff that isn't going to be perfect.
No, my whole thing, too, is, like, when I talk about the show, I think about the show in the same way that I think about the stuff that I post on Instagram, right? And the fact behind the matter is my jokes are, they stand on merit. Like, the one joke that I love is when I talk about being employed at a district that's super into diversity, cultural responsiveness, all of that. And they say, Joe, how can we support you as a diverse teacher? And my line back is, actually, I'm white. So, and it gets a huge laugh every single time. Yeah. But the truth behind that joke is that it's like, you look at me and you say diversity and you say you want to, like, support all this gay stuff and LGBT things. But the truth behind embracing a person for whatever their diversity is to just let them be who they are as a person and let them live as a person and accept who, like, their character is. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's the truth behind that joke. And so many people just laugh because it's funny and the delivery is funny, but, like, there's a thought process behind that.
Sure.
So when I'm doing that on Instagram too, it's all satire with, like, a message. And if you're willing to decode through it a little bit, like, you can figure it out and see it.
Right.
The other thing too is, like, why would I ever post, like, having to like discipline a student or like a bad parent-teacher conference or something like that. It's like nobody wants to see that. I'd rather just like make you laugh and enjoy these moments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that though? It's like a video and you're like, roll back the tapes or whatever. Is that the phrase that you use?
Roll the tapes. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be incredible. And you actually too, at that same Q&A, you had a former student that was on.
Oh, wasn't that wild?
Did you know that she was going to be there?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I did not. So she's a freshman in college now at the college that I was speaking at, which was my former college.
Okay.
And she literally after the show was like, I'm here because I want to be a teacher and you went here. And I was like, wow, the power of like being a teacher is nuts.
Yeah.
It was really cool to connect with her and like just listen to her her thoughts and her opinions on education and just how her mind is growing. Like I'm like, oh my God, in my mind you're still 10. Like that's so wild.
Did you feel like kind of dated at that point, or because you're a young guy still? Like
I turned 30 in 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
I'm feeling
So
that.
there you go. Yeah. Nah, that's still young though. I'm only 25.
Oh my God, you're young. I don't know. I'm feeling I'm like moving into this like daddy phase, and I'm kind of into it. I'm into it. The truth is, I've like looked forward to 30 for a very long time, since I was probably about 25.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that Nick Miller joke. I feel like I'm growing into the old man mentality. He's like, I think I have the personality of a 60-year-old man.
Wait, can we pause? I'm boggled by the fact that you're 25. That is insanity.
Is it the facial hair kind of it throws you off?
No, you carry yourself really well.
Thank you.
You do carry yourself really well, and you're very confident. One of the things too the reason I started listening to Classroom Brew is because I like that you unapologetically like crack the corona or like hang out or like talk like you talk like yourself, like you are yourself.
Thank you.
And, like that's so cool. And I feel like at 25, like even with as much of an extrovert and like open advocate for embracing your weird and being yourself in the classroom, I think even myself at 25, I was kind of like, can't do this, and like be careful what you post, and like I was that teacher who would hide the drinks behind my back.
Sure.
You know? And like even though this is totally legal in all of America, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's like cheers, Holmes. For sure.
And that is something. That is the one thing that when I first started this podcast too, like there was no video.
Mm-hmm.
It was super anonymous, things like that, and I'm starting to realize I can pull back that curtain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You use Mr.D as like the stage name, right? But it's everyone knows you are Joe Dombrowski, and you've been on Ellen, you were on Windy City Live and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have some districts, because you've moved around a lot, like Seattle, Michigan, Washington, Michigan, Illinois? Do you have some districts that are more open to that, or others that are like, no, you are not going to do this, we can't have this in here? Like, do you have to get releases, or like, how does that all work?
So it's different everywhere that I go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of like backpedal a little bit. When it first, and I think the other thing too is like, I don't know if this is like, fact check this. I don't know that there's another person doing this. Like, I don't know that there's another,
I don't think so.
Like, teacher who's like climbing in this way of entertainment. And I don't know that exists, and I'm still teaching full time. So when it first happened, I was doing comedy. Like my staff would come to my shows all the time, and then my video went viral.
Yeah.
And my boss, the first thing he did is came into my room, and he was like, I just want to let you know that you filmed that in here, so we own that content. And I was like, I don't even think you know if that's true or not. Like, I think you're just talking. And I was like, it made me realize, like, okay, like, we don't really know how to do this, so we got to work together.
Right.
And then people also didn't know that I was moving to Chicago. And even at the time of that video, I was already moving to Chicago.
Okay.
And like, Ellen even asked, like, can we talk about it? I'm like, the kids don't know. You know, so, and then when I got to Chicago, I thought it was going to be set. Like, I thought it was going to be so cool. And then the district that I worked at actually called a meeting into the, like, what is it called? The board office or whatever?
There's a nice conference room table. And
I'm like lost for words at this time. They called me in, and their words verbatim to me were, we're not going to make this Mr.D thing easy for you to continue. And I was like, try me. It honestly, it fueled my fire a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all, you can't you cannot tell me no for something that exists outside of my obligations here.
Right.
If I'm meeting and doing my obligations here, then like I'm going to be a
So
person.
it doesn't interfere at all.
Right.
Like, it truly doesn't. As a matter of fact, it probably inspires your students to like want to perform more for you because you're endearing yourselves to them.
Well, there's a thing. So like the things they didn't know is like how I set up my sub plans. Like I have a sub who shadows me for a few days in the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
And then I have the same sub every time I'm out of the classroom. When I'm
nice.
out of the classroom, I literally have all of the work put together in a form of a packet for the students, but they work in a lot of the time they work in rotations, and all the rotations are guided by an iPad that is a video of me teaching what's happening. Like, I'm very methodical with how I'm going to work with my students.
That's what I want to set up too.
Oh, it's insane. But like, they didn't even know that, and they were just like, "We're not going to make this Mr.D thing easy for you to continue." And I was like, "That Mr.D stuff has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm doing in the classroom, so this isn't going to jive." And it was a very tumultuous relationship there where I just like could not be myself, and I was given the answer no left and right. I was actually oh god, I don't know if I am allowed to say this. I was supposed to go back on Ellen that school year, and I was asked to go back on, and the school and district straight up told me no, and I had to call them and tell them that I couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild?
I didn't realize that that's incredible. It was that'd be such a disappointment too. Like,
it was really hard. It was really hard, especially like this woman who I just am forever indebted to for my first huge big break. And now I'm being asked to do this again, and I have to say no. Like, it was really difficult. But now I'm in a different situation too. And what I love about where I'm teaching is my boss is so transparent with me, and I with her, and she straight up has said to me, "You know, I've never done this before with somebody who's kind of doing something like this, and I don't know that you've done it before. So I think if we're just open and honest with each other as things come up, as things happen, we can just work together to try to make it work in a way that's best." Because the fact of the matter is she needs to make sure that the kids are getting absolutely what they need, and so do I. But I also, like, it's not even a side hustle anymore. Like, my other career is flourishing, and I want that to continue to flourish. But I really, truly have a passion for working with kids. I get so much out of being in the classroom and working with them every day. Right. And when we're open and honest and we're talking and making these decisions together, that's when it works. That's when you can do it.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I respect that way more. Like, someone that's like, you know, willing to go through that struggle. And even your principal too. I respect someone that's like willing to say, you know, I don't know, but let's work together through this, rather than someone that pretends they have the answers or is just going to try to resist you on that.
Yeah.
But was that the reason that you decided, you know what, this place in somewhere in Illinois is not the job for me? Was that like the biggest factor that led to you moving?
So I remember when that happened, and I was on the phone after that with my partner Morgan, and I was just like, we that day, and school hadn't even started yet, we that day knew that I was not going to return. Like, there's no way. And then as different things would happen, and there was just a lot of eyes that were on me for the wrong reasons, we knew that I wasn't going to be staying there. And then he was transferred to Seattle, and it was perfect. And I was like, well, obviously we're going to Seattle, so so there we are.
And that was you've been there for what, a year or two?
Yeah, just under a year.
Just under a year?
Just under a year. Yeah, I actually moved there on July 5th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just coming up on a year.
Yeah, that's impressive. Now, with your sub plans, because we were talking a little bit about healthcare on the self-care on the podcast recently. Healthcare, all of it.
If teachers are even going to have that anymore, we don't even know.
Right. Watch out. We can't say anything, otherwise Betsy might find this podcast, and then we're screwed.
Everything.
So in terms of like when you write a sub plan, because you have this incredible, you posted this video of like this school that had this whole ivy wall, and your room has a lot of plants, you mentioned too, right? Does your sub that consistently goes into your room, should he or she know, like, all right, I got to water these plants at certain times?
Oh, no, the kids do the plants.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I did an interview on another podcast called Bloom and Grow Radio. Check her out. She's amazing. Maria, a very good friend of mine now. And I've always been like this plant nerd. right? And when I would do the interviews, I'm like, I've always wanted to do this idea of having so many plants in the classroom because I've always had a lot, but now I have 107.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But I'm not shitting you. Like the way that the kids connect to these plants, it's insane. When they water and they tend to them and they wash their leaves and they make sure they're getting enough sun and they truly like care and feel responsible for these plants, it is nuts. And I had a kid who is going through a lot, and we did some planting and some gardening like one-on-one, and just to see him like light up in that way was power, just pure power. And also I had another little girl who took a plant home over a different break that we were on, and she brought it back and it was completely dead, and she was shaking, and she's like, Mr. D, I'm so sorry, and she was gonna cry. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had to tell her, I'm like, this is so great because now we know like what this kind of plant doesn't like.
Oh, that was nice.
So yes, but it's actually really cool because I didn't know that plant doesn't like that much water. I could tell right away that the soil was really, really moist. So I think she started to see it go downhill, but watered it more. So when they talked about plants and we did a lot of science and learning, it was a really cool point. But like that's how strong their emotional attachment is to these.
Well, and they also, they see that you're even like, you know what? I didn't know that I made a mistake. We learned something together. That's she's never going to forget that. And also the parallels you can make to like your personal life and
no
stuff
joke.
like that. That's incredible. Oh
yeah.
my God.
So it's been a journey, and it's been so rewarding. I'll always be decked out with plants for sure.
I've got some fake plants in my room. I guess I can just like pretend to water them on Instagram, be like
100%.
Got my Mr.D influence. Let me just get this. And it's just like falling out of the fake pot that I have on it.
You got to beef it up a little bit. You got to get some real ones in there. Do you have good light in your classroom?
It's pretty good. I have an entire wall of just windows.
Do you know what direction those windows face?
They face, let me think, north.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. If there's a lot of them, though, you should be fine. North-facing windows are the worst-facing windows for plants.
Okay.
Because I'm such a nerd. I'm so sorry. But if they're big and you have a lot of them, you should be able to do it. How about you start off with a snake plant would be a really good one, or a ZZ plant would be a great one. A ZZ plant, I have one in my classroom. I've watered it 3 times.
Okay.
And it's thriving.
That's what I need.
A ZZ plant. ZZ.
I fool people all the time with my fake plants. I've got like 4 or 5 of them, like strategically placed, and they're like far enough away but close enough that they're like, oh, I thought that was real.
I love that.
Yeah, I do my best. But those sympathetic moments too, those are like, is that what you hope? Because you have artifacts that these kids can remember you by long after they're done in your classroom.
Oh, that's weird. I never really... Yeah, you're right. Like they can go back and watch the videos. And,
yeah.
That's true.
Is there like, aside from like the tangible day-to-day and the punchlines and like those setup moments, like the plant moment that you had with this student, do you have anything that you want your students to for sure remember you by, like outside of like Mr. D? And
there's so much to be said with that question, and academics are important. Don't get me wrong. But, like, if you look back on 5th grade and you loved school and you liked coming to school and you had a good time, then that was a successful year for all of us. And that's what matters the most. Like, I had a kid from one of my first classes ever write me recently who's now a senior in high school and described this moment that I had completely forgotten about. And it was just something, it was like a fun time for him. And I was like, see, that's the stuff that, like, that's what matters. Like, those are what I want them to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because there's so much that, like, it won't be caught on social media every single time, but that's going to stick with them. And that's when I had parent-teacher conferences right before I went to your show, the second show. I had a parent it's a student that he can be an absolute rock star. Like, he wants to start a YouTube channel, but he also wants to go into marketing. Like, he's got all the skills to do it. But he gets into trouble every so often. And so I always pull him aside. And actually, it's funny because I listen to the Q&A, and you do something very similar to this, too, when you say, we're having this conversation because I care and I want you to do well and things like that.
Oh, you really listened to that episode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was a great episode.
Thank you.
But I do that with him, and I was like, it's probably not getting through to him. It's probably in one ear, out the other. He's just going, yep, 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 yep. But I was talking to the mom at this conference, and she was like, oh, yeah, Mr. F, he talks about you all the time, and, the stuff that you do in class, and, the conversations you have when you pull him aside. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it's actually, like, kind of working. Like, I try to be, like, silly enough. Like, I don't have, like, Instagram content, but I didn't realize that those messages are actually getting through to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that it helps, but it's incredible when you take a step back and you're like, oh, it's probably those small little things that I've done that I didn't realize are going to have an impact on this kid.
Right.
It just blows my mind.
I always wear a flare pen behind my ear. I'm constantly using it, and it's just a habit at this point. And I remember one time I was like looking out into my classroom, and it was like every little boy in my classroom has a pen behind their ear right now. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's that little that stuff that you don't realize like matters to them.
Right.
That's cool that you and the mom had that conversation.
It was an incredible moment. It's also a mom that I've talked to a handful of times now, but I just didn't realize the extent of it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I almost wish that I like had like a Mr.D persona where I could do this, but I have this one student that she's had me for 2 classes now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's great. She's fantastic. But we watched Avengers Infinity War like before Christmas break. And at the end, she started crying, like deeply crying. And she's very empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
We had a speaker. His name was Daryl Cannon, who was like a survivor of police brutality. And he was put in prison for 24 years and he didn't commit the crime. And so I had him come and talk to the kids too. Like he came to the school. And at the end, she's there and she's kind of going like, I'm like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry. It's okay to have these emotions. And then Daryl Cannon looks at her and just goes, "What's wrong, sweetheart?" And then she just like it's all let go. Yeah, because it's almost like that comfort is what makes it actually come out. But it was this nice moment where she's like got her arm. He's got his arm around her and he's like, "It's okay. I've been through hell and back, but this is why we learn from it." And she's just sobbing. And I was like, "This is incredible."
Yeah.
But I tried to also you want to like. I keep telling her, like, it's okay to have that emotion. That's a good thing that you are so empathetic. But then I'm also like, I don't want her to, like, be upset or sad about something, too. So I walk into a meeting. This is, like, 2 weeks ago or something like that. And she's in the corner, and she is sobbing. And she's got a Chromebook in front of her. And I walk in, she's like, "Mr. F, I don't want to." I'm like, what are you crying about? An anime character died in her show, and she was crying. And I felt so bad because she's got so much empathy. So to kind of cheer her up, there were 3 of us in the meeting, and so I had like a Burger King napkin, and we wrote a condolence card. Like, "We're so sorry for the death of your anime character, half of the Avengers and the world." And it gave her like a little moment.
That's amazing.
I think she said she put it up on her wall or something like that.
Beautiful. I have a few who are very like highly emotional over things like that too. I had a kid who was crying the other day, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "This baby pig is so cute." I'm like, that's amazing. Just be 10. You just be 10. This is great.
It's like that video of the girl that's just holding a puppy, like, "She's so lovable." Like they're just so happy. That's incredible. I love those moments.
Me too.
So I recently had this moment where I had a dream that I was a student at my school. But, like, I was aware that I was also a teacher at one point, and it was so weird. Do you ever have any of those weird dreams where, like, either you're a student or, like, it's a weird dream about school or...
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, my God. I can't think of anything in particular, but I remember I had a dream where I kept running into students in the world, like my world outside of the classroom.
Sure.
And I was just like, what the hell? Like, I can't get away with it. Because, like, I love my kids, but I very much cherish my time away from my kids.
Right,
I think that's healthy.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You have to worry about yourself and do your own thing to stay on top of the game in the classroom.
Right.
So when you run into them, I'm just like, shit. And in the dream, it was like every move I was making, there were more kids.
Right. I even had one last night. I thought I was running late for this because I was waiting for my kids to get on the bus because this was a field trip, and I was like, "You guys are messing this up for me." So I was thinking about, like, I was like, "Oh, I guess I should think about weird dreams that I've had."
So that happens in real life to me all the time because I have to book like podcast interviews, TV things, like whatever I'm doing, like it's all off the clock time. So I either have to take a call during my prep or my lunch or after school, right? And if shit hits the fan in the classroom, I have to be like honest with them and be like, "Hey, sorry, I'm going to be a half hour late to that meeting because my kids need me." Even though we're teachers, like you have such an obligation, like past that contractual hours, and you have to put that in. So, doing that too. Like right now, I have a weekly segment on a podcast called For the Love of Teaching. It's an Australian podcast through a company called Teachstarter.
I would listen to that for hours just for the accents.
I'm getting their accent now just from chatting with them in the pod. I'm like, yes. And they're always like, are you keen to do this? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so keen, you guys. Like, I'm just the keenest. Then like the phrases that they use. Oh God, what was one? They say, like we would say, like, calm down, you know, like chill. And they say, calm your fam. Calm your farm.
Calm your farm.
Calm your fam.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Huh.
Like, I love it.
I'm going to use that one. I'm going to get so many sideways looks from kids.
Totally. But that one's in Australia, right? So, like, for example, the most recent one that I did with them was 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, my God.
Right. So that's the thing that people don't understand either about, like, the Mr.D life.
Right.
Is I don't stop. Like, if you want something to happen, you have to work your ass off for it, and nothing's going to be handed to you too. And like, I love what I'm doing outside of the classroom a lot, and I love being in the classroom a lot, so I work my ass off to do these things,
right? And
I make it work. You know how many people are full of excuses? Like, they're gonna say why they can't do something before they even try.
Oh yeah.
I don't even do that. I just go.
Right.
Like, it will happen. Let's do it.
Because you have your podcast, you have your YouTube channel, you have stand up itself, you have teaching itself. What else am I missing? Because I know there's a bunch. Do you coach and stuff like that for kids or a club?
Oh my God, I do. I'm on a couple different committees at work.
Okay.
And then we have a couple other things that take place after school, like when we're developing plans around kids for like advanced learning and like IEP development, things like that. But outside of that, I teach, I do stand up, I speak at conferences, conventions, universities. I'm doing the pod. I mean, I'm on TV. Like,
yeah, I don't know how you keep all that straight.
I'm on tour. Like, Jesus Christ, I am a crazy person, like bona fide. So just know that.
Go getter though.
But then I have like an amazing relationship with a partner who just supports every minute of what I'm doing, and then I have to. That has the majority of my time too, because it's so important. But like, you have to space these things out, and you have to make sure that you're like making the right time. So it's hard, but like, if you're going to make excuses for yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to go where you want to go, and I'm going where I want to go.
Now, what does he do? Like, is he able to go on tour with you, or?
Yeah. So Morgan, his job it's generally pretty flexible. I mean, Jesus Christ, so is anything that's not being a teacher, right?
Right.
So he's been to my show. He's seen the show probably about 12 times. So he came to Detroit. He was in San Francisco. He was in Atlanta. He's going to be in New York. He wasn't able to make Chicago. So he comes when he can, which is really great. It's really nice to have him there. He gets a line. He'll be sitting there and he'll have a line of people.
That's awesome.
To take pictures with him. I'm like, excuse you. To him, not to them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, and your opener in Chicago too.
Devin Siebold. He is a genius.
So, but he's got a podcast too. It's called "Crying in My Car," a podcast for teachers.
He's great.
He was incredible too.
His content online is incredible too. I respect him so much. He's a genius. He's a genius.
Did you know him before the tour?
So we were kind of the thing about comedy is you get acquainted to other comedians online. From all over the world, right? Like, my opener for New York runs circles around me in the comedy scene, right? And he's incredible. Benito Skinner. And he helped me get into Caroline's too. And then I was like, do you want to do this too? And I thought like, being an opener for my show, he would be like, oh, that's so beneath me. And he's like, oh, totally. Because comedy's not like anything else. Like, it's very helpful. It's very like, let's do this with each other. And it's been great. But like, the same way that Benito and I kind of started working together, so did Devin and I. So we were familiar with each other's work. We would chat. And then we got put in a showcase together.
Oh, really?
And then we were performing together. And I saw his work and I was like, you're opening for me in Chicago, and asked him, and he was like, yes.
Yeah. Does Morgan do any content that's online or anything? Or
no.
Okay.
And he doesn't have any desire to.
Okay.
You know, and like, he's cool with it. He's cool with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has a following already, even without that content, like you said.
Even without that content, right? I don't know. He's just being him.
Yeah.
And he's like smoking hot too. So like, that That helps.
Right,
That helps.
right. And you're like, what gave it away?
Yeah.
that I was gay.
What gave it away? That's what the kids like. We talk about being gay in the classroom a lot because my district is just like so okay with people living their truth no matter what it is. So like if
That's
something
great.
comes up, like I answer their questions and I talk about it and it's cool.
Mhm.
And then I had a student come up to me literally a week ago. I was like, Mr. D, are you gay? What gave it away? I literally have pictures of RuPaul behind my desk. Like, I'm sorry. Not that you have to be gay to like RuPaul. I mean, you admit to watching episodes too.
It's good stuff.
Your girlfriend's obsessed with it.
Oh, she loves it. Queer Eye. That's why I've got my French tuck. You can't tell, but Tan, if you're watching, Jonathan.
Jonathan's on tour right now too.
Is he really?
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, Jonathan Van Ness is just so yas for
my
me.
favorite.
Oh, he's so yas for me. Like he is. Oh, I love him. When he was doing a show in Seattle, he was literally taking pictures on my street, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
why am I not there? But one of his openers too, Michelle Buteau, is like, I'm obsessed with Michelle. I look up to her comedy so much. Like I just appreciate everything she does. And when I saw she was opening for Jonathan, I'm like, if I can see this show, I will die. I will die. I will die. I will die. I'm really, really want to see his set because he's just so he's so like quick and witty and like responsive and relatable and smart. Is that man smart?
I think I posted something like I need him to encourage me in my everyday life because I would be a rock star in everyday life. If he's always just like, yes, honey, like all that stuff. Like he is the number one. And you're right. He has his podcast, for example, Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. He has so many intellectuals. He is such an intelligent person.
Do you want to hear some shit?
Let's hear it.
I got booked to do a job at a convention, and it was at a high school.
Okay.
And I walked in, and I was just like, hey, everyone, blah, blah, blah. And I was meeting with the people who planned it and put it together. And they were like, so do you watch Queer Eye? And I was like, duh. But they were like, this is Jonathan Van Ness's old high school.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you're shitting me. Grab the yearbooks. And they did. And they showed me him. And I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And then literally the next day, they filmed that episode in the high school with all those with the teachers, and they remade the teachers. They filmed it in there with Jonathan's teachers. Like, and I'm like, I missed the whole Fab Five by a day.
That, oh my God, could you imagine? Oh, geez.
No, the answer is no.
That's how you know you've made it, if you meet all of them.
Yeah.
Or even one.
I would love to be, and I feel like people say this all the time, like, I would love to be on the team and do kind of like the, like, coaching with kids, like coaching with like family work and like all of that. And like,
so Karamo does the adult, you get the kids in the situation.
Or like teaching the adult to like how to be more relatable, like with kids and work with kids. Cause like it's a whole different field. Right. And then, we'll weave some other shit in there, and then it'll be like Fab Six. Hey,
that'd be incredible. Oh my God, I seriously, if they're watching, probably not. Maybe you never know.
You never know.
Add Joe to the Fab, make it the Fab
or
Six.
even just like for an episode,
right? Like a guest appearance.
Hell, let's just hang out. Like I'm so cool with it. You know, I was telling you about Benito, who's opening for me in New York. Yeah. He does a spot on Anthony impression. Spot on. I'll send you videos after this. Check him out. Yeah, Benny Drama is his Instagram.
Okay.
So funny. Yeah. Great guy.
We always try to like pick out like it's hard to like, you love them all so much. And it's oh my God, just incredible. I keep telling Katie, like, can you just nominate me? She's like, you're probably fine. I was like, I can fake it for a little bit.
Oh God,
I'll do it just to have Tan like rework everything. I can meet them all. I think that would be so awesome. But,
yeah, just like start dressing worse.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's not that far to go, but we'll get there.
You're fine. You're fine.
I did have a kid though that they liked the socks that I had. And then this is actually the same kid. Have I told you this story yet? He started doing like fake sign language, kind of like when Obama had the fake sign language one. And I was like, let's roll with it. Let's see what happens here. Again, need a camera in the room. And I get to the word spreadsheet, and he goes full Michael Phelps. And I was like, oh my God. It was awful. But yeah, the Fab Five. I was like, Junior, stop it.
I love that. I love that.
They're creative. You don't want to stifle that.
No, not at all.
So do you think, is there a stand-up special on Netflix or Amazon or HBO or something like that and potentially coming? Is that something in the works? Is that a goal?
Don't know that I'm allowed to say.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, tell me after we stop recording.
There's nothing in the works right now. Like full transparency, like I'm a comedian. I would love a Netflix special. Like, let's be for real. But the fact I'm gonna like tour the shit out of Indoor Recess. Like I want a lot of people to see the show live.
You don't want to burn that content yet.
No. And like I have so much material written that I'll start producing like the second show when I'm ready to like really launch it. I just got to practice and workshop the jokes a little more.
Sure.
But like if somebody wanted to pick it up, would I entertain that? Absolutely. But I would love to share the show with so many people because I feel like there's so many people who can't come to the show or live in areas that the show's not anywhere near and they want to see the content. And I'm just like, I would love to make you laugh and enjoy life together in your own living room. So would I do it?
Right.
Hell yes.
Right. Especially because even if it was something that, because you use new material all the time and like throw stuff in a little bit, right?
Oh, you have to. You have to.
You have to ad-lib a little bit. Maybe you change it a little bit.
Well, I put 2 new jokes in every show. Almost.
Wow.
Almost.
Is that stuff from the classroom or like is that where you get the inspiration?
So you know that part of the show when I take the shot with somebody on stage?
Yes, which I love.
Okay. And then you know how before that the crowd's going wild because they all want to be the one who takes the shot?
Right.
So that happens every time, every show, and they go insane. But for your show that you were at, I said, if my class ever acted like this, and then there was like another uproar of laughter, right? I wrote that right then in there.
Nice.
I had never said or done that before too. And then I watched back the tape and I'm like, that's staying forever.
yeah,
so
it has to.
Yep. So,
that's incredible.
And that's how you continue to like write and build and get more material.
That's incredible. See, such a skill. I'm so envious. It's incredible.
Oh, you have it. You haven't touched into it yet. You have it.
We'll see. Probably not. So, where's the tour going next? What's next on
our next stop's New York.
New York.
From New York, we're hitting Boston.
Okay.
From Boston, we're doing Seattle. From Seattle, we're doing Tampa.
Oh wow.
And we have some gaps in there too. So we're currently tacking on some extra cities. So
nice.
I hear from so many cities all the time. People writing in on the comments saying where they want to go. So we're trying to really bring that to them.
Yeah.
And just crush it and get people out there and make them smile, make them laugh, make them enjoy life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Joe also has a podcast, Study Hall. Where can they check out Study Hall?
Study Hall with Mr.D. I mean, like, find me on Instagram, Facebook, everything. You can find it, like, quite literally everywhere. Just type in Study Hall with Mr.D. I'm sure you'll find it, too. Cool. Like, pause for 2 seconds. Like, Ryan, this interview is so raw and real. I've done a lot of podcasts with people, too, and, like, this was probably one of the first where I feel like I could just, like, do it. Like, just, like, be...
Well, yeah, I'm glad.
It's partially maybe because I'm a little bit hungover, but but also, like, you are... I hope more people start listening to you, too, because this is really cool, and I love that you invite your guests to just, like, let loose and talk about just how life really is. So thank you. This is really cool.
No, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm glad I got to see the show, and then we got to chat a little bit after.
Yeah,
and
totally. In Chicago,
awesome.
God, best city.
Can't beat
Chicago.
it. Can't beat it. Well, Seattle's close. It's very close.
Seattle's fabulous. We're never leaving, ever.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you again. So this was a lot of fun. This is anytime it just rolls like that, that's a good sign. But thank you for being on. Everybody else, make sure if you haven't, rate and review, subscribe, tell your friends, check out Joe, all his content. Make sure you check out his tour, Indoor Recess. It is so funny. I cannot recommend it enough. And then, of course, until next week, class dismissed.